Hello, and welcome back to Planner Apocalypse. It's been a year, hasn't it? So I'm just trying to wrap up the year here in the Memento Mori Gold Planner Companion, and I feel like I want this year to be over, but I'm just not ready for it to be over yet because I've been neglecting my planner stuff, and it's just not been the year that I thought it was going to be, that I was hoping it was going to be. It was not the reset that I was promised, and I feel like that happens a lot to a lot of us. So if you are also struggling with coming to terms with your year right now, you're not alone. So this is the eve of the winter solstice here in the northern hemisphere. And so I'm just going to look through this. Let's start at the beginning with this review. My word or theme for 2025 was rise and shine. And I wanted this year to be coming back with renewed energy and putting my work out there for people to see it and engage with. And the complete opposite happened. I feel like I just gave up on my work and stuff. I knew coming into this year that it was going to be very family focused, though, with my parents moving to my city from out of state. But I guess I wasn't counting on just how much the family and friends connection section would come into play this year. So connection, I wanted to be a light in the darkness, whatever that means. I chose some very vague umbrella-like things here. My rest and well-being was hoping to wake up ready to face the day, which I am still completely a night owl, and that is not improved whatsoever. Last year, I actually went through my goals and used a green and red pen to take stock of what I did and did not do. So I'm going to continue doing that right now. And I don't think I went this far back, but so be a light in the darkness, basically be supportive of my friends and family. And I think I've done that. So I can give myself credit for that. I'll wake up ready to face the day. In a sense, I did, because I woke up and I faced the day because I had to. But, I don't wake up feeling refreshed or anything like that. I did not do the daily grind, if you will. So, home and environment, I wanted responsible homey vibes. And to some extent, I'm going to give myself credit for this. I did a lot of work on home stuff, particularly after my dog died. And I think that I'm going to give myself credit for that because I need it. For alignment and self-expression, the intention that I had was I want to share my creative work without cringing. And I did not do that. So I can already tell you that my word of the year for 2026 is going to be cringe. As in the word cringe, like that's going to be my word of the year. But resources and contribution. So problem solving, grassroots, building community, see connection. Right, going into this 2025 year with this crazy stuff happening. I basically did not leave my house at all this year, except for I took my kid to school and to the doctors and did all of that stuff that I had to do. I saw my friends for game days, but other than that, I was very, very much a homebody, and that's that. So practice doing the thing and letting it be seen and be seen trying. I did not do that. I did not be seen, period. I was a hermit this year, including a digital hermit. I was also AFK or MIA from my Discord group for a number of months because I was just in such a state. Play makes you happy, which shine. I did some playing. I started playing Devil May Cry 5, which was amazing. I'm still not done with that game. I wanted to finish the game before the end of the year. I don't think that's happening, not with all the stuff that I have to do, unless I just say I'm just gonna forget about all the stuff that I have to do and just do it next year, which I might. So curiosity and passion, I took the word arise. So strengthen my relationship to/with the Morrigan, and like a spiritual awakening kind of thing. I had some clarity around this, and basically when the stuff hit the fan, if you will, back over the summer in August, September, after my dog died, my computer died, and all this other stuff. I went to get a professional tarot reading done, which was absolutely wild. But she said that I should take a year off of making the planner, maybe do something undated, and just take a year off. And I'm just like, what? Because I made this as a dedication to the Morrigan, who is my goddess. And the form that it's in now, it doesn't require a lot of creative output. It's more like administrative stuff, like updating dates and doing small edits here and there. And it's annoying. It's more annoying than it is a feeling of devotion. And she doesn't want that. And I'm like, I hadn't thought about it in that context before, so that made me feel really bad. That being said, if you haven't seen the videos that I've posted about that, basically when I moved to my new computer because Windows 10 is no longer being supported, I lost access to Adobe Design Premium 5.5, which is from like 2010, 2012, somewhere around there. And I've been using that software for 14 years or something like that. And Adobe wouldn't let me activate it on my new computer because I already went through 2 computers and they wouldn't let me reset it because it's not supported anymore. So that was the first nail in the coffin. And then I was trying to figure out alternatives. So I went for the Affinity programs, Affinity Photo, Affinity Design, and Affinity Publisher. But Affinity Publisher can't open InDesign files. So that completely locked all of my work that I've done over the past 12 to 14 years plus away from me and made all of my design work inaccessible, which I think is absolutely evil. So we can talk about, proprietary formats and such, but we're not going to do that because I'm gonna kill something. So that didn't work out. And so I was just kind of left trying to figure out what I could do. It also meant that I lost access to Adobe Acrobat Pro, and so I can no longer rearrange and delete pages from PDFs, which is insane to me. They want me to pay $20 a month to be able to do that, and I'm just like, no. No, absolutely not. Recently, my parents, for an early birthday / Christmas gift, because my birthday is right after Christmas, gave me a year's subscription to just InDesign. And so I've been able to make my lunar calendars. Those are up on my Etsy shop, by the way. And I've started editing the companion I've started trying to do undated thing and make just the companion for next year, but it's nowhere near done. And so I'm trying to figure out a new model of how I can get my work out that isn't so huge and taxing on me every year. All that to say, Jesus, all that to say, I'm going to give myself credit for this because there has been some progress, or at least some insight into those things. I did take some classes at the local witch shop, and I started studying Ogham recently, which is the ancient Irish text or alphabet, if you will. So that was cool. I'm trying to do more of that stuff. This was my vision board or sensory board for the year. I wanted to tell stories. Did I do any fan fiction this year? Jesus. I don't think I published anything or wrote anything this year. I've had an amazing number of ideas come to me this year. And so I designed this worksheet. This is the prototype version of it. It's called the novel seed, or it's now called the story seed worksheet because not everybody is writing novels. Some people are writing, screenplays or short stories or video game scripts or whatever. So this is basically just one sheet, two pages back and front of everything that you need to just get started writing a story without having to know every single thing. So like, what are the main characters? What's your working title? What's your genre? What tropes are you using? What's the theme versus what is the premise? what is a one sentence pitch that you could sum up your story in and try to hook readers or publishers? What is the central conflict? I think the final version might be slightly different, but it's still just back and front. Any setting and world notes like time period, place, and environment. And then the quick and dirty story beats, I tried to base it on this like kind of roller coaster thing. So what's the hook? What's the rising action, which is this part? What is the climax? Obviously, that's the point here. And then what is the falling action? And then what is the resolution? And the spark, where did this idea come from? So what's your inspiration? And then what is the medicine? What are you really exploring for yourself? Why this story? And then additional notes. And I have a bunch of those. And I don't know, I'm generating ideas, but not actually doing anything with them. So it felt a lot like incubation this year versus actually following through on things. Just a lot of behind the scenes things and thinking about things, including this planner and what I want to do with it in the future. Part of the problem, I think, is that this is a dated thing. I was so happy at the end of last year when I published, even self-publishing, a book. It was on Amazon, and now I have to take that down. That feels sad to me. That feels like, oh, I did all that work and now my book is gone. And maybe that's part of the ephemerality of life, but it's sad. So let's see. All right. We did not do these things. I did not reconnect with Sunday Heretics or Skydog Farm. I didn't do arts and crafts with kids and grandma because grandma is still not here. I did do Clown Town with Harry. So, special announcement, I am going to Clown College in January, so there's about 33 days left before my friend Harry and I go and do that for a weekend, and that feels very fun and silly, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Family nights, we actually did some family nights, and we played Clue with my parents, so hang out with mom and dad is also here and done. Date nights, I did some of those. I did see Susan and Tyler, but not as much as I thought I was going to. Discord friends and community take less long breaks. I returned and I am back. Though, so rest and well-being, I wanted to tend to my physical and mental health by cultivating better habits and following through 60% of the time. I can tell you this was a failure. Over here, it was nurture existing relationships in order to build a rich community and safety net. We're going to give myself credit for this one. Rest and well-being, I'm going to just tell you right now, absolutely not. I gave up my whole health planner tracking after a couple of months. So this was a no. And then the Visible app I'm still using, and like all my other health tracking apps I'm still using most of the time. The ones that I don't have to think about, like the Visible app I'm still using. Let me see. Sleep on time, absolutely not. I'm still being very bad. Appetizer menu, I did not actually do that. Basically out of sight, out of mind. I need to print it out, I think, and put it where I can see it. Because if I don't see it, I'm not going to use it. Get back into yoga and take walk. Nope. Didn't do that. Journaling, I have been avoiding journaling. So at first, yes. Then, no. So daily planning, reading, I'm going to give myself credit for reading because I'm almost done with my 20 books for the year. I have 2 more left. Writing, I'm going to say no. Art, absolutely not. I did not do that. Watching stuff, I did watch some stuff, so I'm going to give myself credit for that. Digital detox, I did some of that digital detox, so I'm going to give myself credit for that. That was a big thing. I have a lot more to do on that, but that's for future me to figure out. I did not get back to therapy. I did not yet get a new physical. This is actually really important. I got to do that. I did not go see my lady doctor either. Seek diagnosis for fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue syndrome. I did not do that either, but those are things that I need to do. Really important things. Okay. Develop a self-compassionate cleaning, tidying, decluttering routine. So planetary routines has been this thing that I started developing 2 years ago, but then I stopped because it wasn't baked yet, so I didn't touch it this year. So that's a big no. Declutter. I did get some stuff on eBay and I did do some decluttering, so I'm going to give myself credit. I got my Free Write Alpha, the black one, up on eBay finally. I found some really cool Nintendo Entertainment System inspired color scheme keys to put on it. So I'll put a picture of what it looks like with the gray keycaps. I'm also selling it with the gray keycaps that came with the white body because I'm keeping the white keys for the white body. New kitchen cabinets, we didn't get those yet. Come up with a declutter strategy by room. Basically, clean up the center room was my bar. I added this set the bar thing, the smallest thing. So I did do that. So I'm going to give myself credit for doing that. The bar for the health thing was get on insurance and get back to therapy. So I got on insurance. I did not get back to therapy. So I'm not going to give myself credit for this one. Okay, top goal for alignment and self-expression was finish my fanfic works in progress by the end of the year and avoid starting new fics until current works are finished. That is hilarious. I at least wanted to finish plotting Your Ghost, which I did finish that. So that's nice. I reworked the current chapter that I've been stuck on, chapter 4, and I'm about halfway done with it, but I haven't really been writing this year. So I also thought up a new game and I have all these ideas and where's the follow through? Where's the drive to follow through instead of constantly incubating things? You know what I'm saying? Come on. Let's let's do that. Let's do that instead. I didn't finish outlining my book. I completely didn't even touch that this year. I also didn't do all of the videos that I wanted to do, and I didn't work on comics at all. So I'm not going to give myself credit for this because I really didn't. This was not the year for that. Make $5,000 this year and pay off debt. I don't think I did that at all. So go through subscriptions and trim the fat. I did do that. So I did my bar thing, but largely I don't think I met that. So top goal for practice was a new budget workbook in order to broaden my offerings and move toward making a living from my work. That was a no. So this itself was a no. I didn't finish the workbook and as a whole, the 2026 planner. So I didn't even do that. This is my saddest little thing here. I wanted to do so much. I always want to do so much, but it did not happen, and that makes me really sad. I didn't even meet the lowest bar, so I haven't drawn anything, so no fan art. I didn't paint anything. I started getting my physical word stickers going, but then I didn't post anything on Etsy. I am like, what is with all this self-sabotage? I can't do this anymore. Basically, everything is a flop. So I didn't get my homeschool planners on eBay, but I don't know if anybody else has seen that personal curriculum trend that's going on in social media right now, but I want to do that. I want to do that so bad because I think that sounds so fun. So that might actually be how I do my goals next year. And I'm thinking about repurposing one of my own homeschool planners for that. So if that sounds interesting to you, you can look forward to that because it's important to have things to look forward to. Okay, top goal for play is get back into deeper fictional fun things to replenish the well. Read fiction. I'm reading fiction, yes. I didn't read the books that I wanted to read, question mark? No, I read the books that I wanted to read. I didn't finish my currently reading list. That's what I meant to say. Obviously, I wanted to read the books, otherwise I wouldn't have read them. Do you know what I mean? I didn't read any fan fiction this year, or extremely not a lot. Play games. I played Devil May Cry 5, which was super fun, and that's pretty much it. Everything else, oh, I don't know why I did that. I didn't read fan fiction. Pathfinder with Friends is done. I watched shows with my husband. I watched some movies. I even went to the theater to see FNAF 2 with my son. I didn't really watch anime this year, did I? I didn't. That's crazy. And I went to the Sailor Moon musical with my bestie, and I didn't do any of the Happytizer menu things. Correction, I probably did, but I didn't consult the page. Like, listen to your favorite song. I listen to Sleep Token a lot. I'm gonna put my summary of my YouTube music wrapped, if you will. I don't do Spotify, so yeah, I did not get back into Otome games, which is kind of sad. I did look out the window at the trees. That was nice. I went to visit my family. I didn't do a lot of readings, like tarot stuff, for myself this year. I did pay to have a professional one done, and that was pretty crazy. I'm gonna give myself credit for play. We're gonna give that. Top goal for curiosity and passion. Reconnect with my spirituality for my mental health. I'm going to give myself credit for that. You know what? I am trying. So I didn't read any of these books that I have here. I kind of finished one of these courses, but the thing is, I took classes in person, which I think I'm definitely giving myself credit for, because not only did that satisfy the courses part, but the community part and getting out of my house so I'm not succumbing to my agoraphobia kind of thing. I did not do the Channy questions in the app every week because I just forgot, but sometimes I did. I'm going to give myself credit for the things that I did. So this is my spiritual journal. It is in a 2025 common planner. The idea here was to take all the stuff from the Daily Planetary Guide plus the stuff from the Channy Astro Planner, which I buy digitally, and put it here, so you have the transits and all of that stuff here, and then you have like a weekly forecast, if you will, and then in the back, this is where I put my readings and stuff like that. Obviously, you can see that I haven't really used a lot of it because look at all this space I have left over. This is from my own class, and I was not in here a lot. And so I think I'm probably going to be just continuing in here or using this as just notes for learning and stuff like that. So at least I'm using what's in here. But I'm still not sure what I'm doing for a spiritual journal for next year. If I'm just going to stay in there, if I'm going to just migrate to another thing. I have to do an unboxing review thing. I got the Ritual Tarot Planner. I don't know if that's going to work out for me. So the bar here is I want to at least finish the courses I'm in the middle of, and I didn't do that. So that's a no, but overall, I'm just going to give myself credit because it happened in other ways. All right, so that's all for my goals. Now I'm going to go to the actual review part. And I know I'm supposed to not look at my pages before I do this, but it's fine. I don't care. It's my party. I'll cry if I want to. I'm just pulling out my highlighters for this. There we go. So this is the Q4 and annual review. As you can see, I have not done my December review. I basically wanted to just not do anything ever again. I haven't filled this out at all for December. We just had the new moon in Sagittarius yesterday, and I didn't set intentions. See, that's the thing. I think I did a lot of work on the companion yesterday, which was the new moon. So I think I set intentions by taking action. And sometimes I think that's better than just thinking about it. But yeah, I will talk more about this in my Techo Kaigi once I get that done. But basically, this format didn't work for me since I dissected my personal system that had been working and split it up into these different places. So these lunation sheets used to be in my spiritual journal. These are things that I did in the spiritual journal before I made them into sheets, worksheets. And so now I'm not in my spiritual journal and I'm not here either, so they're not getting done. But anyway, like if you're just coming into it, I don't think this is a bad setup because the way it works should work if you're using it as a companion, which is why it's set up like this. But I picked apart my spiritual practice to make this, and so this in this format doesn't work for me personally, but hopefully it will work for someone else. So I'm still gonna try to get it out there. Before you look through your old pages, which may influence how you truly feel right now, how satisfied are you with your overall life during the past season? So October, November, December. Not satisfied? I don't know. I'm going to say 4. I didn't do the things that I wanted to do. Let's look at this, I guess, because I did this part. So this was Q3, and I haven't been doing my reviews either. I think everything worked better for me when it was on discs, maybe, or just together, or maybe I'm just not in a season of being in planners. I don't know. Something's wrong with me though. I did try doing the rough draft challenge in November, and I wrote every day for about 2 weeks, and then I stopped for a week and then came back to it. And so what I've learned from doing that, I set my bar super low. I was like, I'm going to write 500 words a day for the month. And then by the end, I'll have however much that is. I think it's like 15,000, but I set my goal at 10,000 so that if I didn't hit 500 every single day, then I would at least get the next best, right? I didn't even hit that. So what I've determined, including what I've figured out from trying to do the Artist's Way workbook, like morning pages, is to gauge things and make my containers time and not a quantity. Because writing 3 pages by hand or writing 500 words, because my brain tires out around the 250 mark. So 500 feels frustrating to me. So I think that instead of setting a word count goal next time, I'm going to do just 30 minutes. Just do 1 sprint a day and that's it. Because sometimes I end up getting, 23 words. And I'm not even kidding with you. So I think that that's going to be the kinder option for me. So I'm glad that I did that because it at least gave me insight to work with. And I think that's probably the most important part. So I did the rough draft challenge. I didn't win it, but I did it. I did not do my doctor's appointments. Holidays with family and friends. We're still right before that, but we did Thanksgiving, so there's that. I did put some stuff on eBay and declutter, so I'm giving myself credit for that. I did declutter the boxes in the center room, or at least move them. Do an art thing. I did not do an art thing yet. I'm thinking about doing an art thing, and I would like to do the art thing. Finish Devil May Cry 5. There's, 1 week? There's 1 week left. Can I finish Devil May Cry 5, read 2 books, do an art thing in just a week? I don't know. Those are my goals. I'm going to write those down, please. This is my bucket list for the end of the year. End of year bucket list. Finish Devil May Cry 5. Read 2 books. I'm probably going to do manga because that's fine. And 1 or more of those are on my currently reading list. So that would be like 2 birds, 1 stone, or, 2 birds, 4 stones. I don't know, whatever the thing is. And then do an art thing. And then I want to get the 2026 companion up. And those are basically it. I'm trying to figure out if I want to just do the calendars by hand, or if I want to set up my entire spreadsheet so that I can then do the weeklies and stuff like that. Or if I want to just do this by hand right now. I don't know. I might do it by hand right now and just to get it over with, and then set up my spreadsheet because that's going to take a long time. Reclaiming my spiritual practice. I'm going to give myself credit for the things that I've done. I hate doing this when the year isn't actually over yet because I'm like, ugh, there's still time to squeeze in these things. Like I could just make a doctor's appointment and get credit for that. You know what I mean? I am such a procrastinator. All right, now take some time to look through the pages from these past 3 months and gather your evidence to rate your domains below. Okay, connection. I did really well. And like I said before, I think this year has been a very connection heavy year, even with the loss of certain family members and my dog and such. One of my dear friends lost her husband. There's been just a lot of human elements coming out this year, and I think that's important. So I will give myself credit for that. Hooray. Rest and well-being. How am I feeling? I'm going to give myself a 5. I don't know. I'm okay. I'm not quite as dire as I was. I'm hanging in there. And I think, honestly, mental health wise, I think it's the connection element that's really keeping me bolstered right now. Home and environment. I'm going to give myself a 6 because I did things this year. I did a lot of work. The center room looks pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's not terrible. Alignment and self-expression. I'm going to give myself a 3. This was not the year for it. And I've had previous years where I output a lot of videos. I think 2022 was one of my biggest years. And this year was just not having it. 2021, I also didn't put out a lot of videos. And so maybe this is just part of a normal ebb and flow of that. I don't really know. Resources and contribution. I'm going to give myself a 5. I did okay. I was at least not bad. So, practice, that was also bad. That was also very bad. I'm going to give myself a 3 for that. Not very good. Play. Play was a lot better, obviously. I'm going to give myself a 7. I could have done more gaming and such, but I'm still dealing with that, like, oh, I should be doing something else, something productive. But playing board games with my family was fun. Clue is a big hit. It's my favorite board game. Curiosity and passion. I'm going to give myself also a 7. I think that's fair. Because there again, I could have done better, but I did enough where I think I'm satisfied for this year. So I'm going to calculate all this. I'm also going to turn my lights on. All right, I'm going to get my stats from the previous quarter and write stuff down. All right, now I'm going to total this and then divide it by 8. So my total is 5.75 for the year, which is a decrease overall from the previous quarter. I guess in other terms, there's been a lot of, I feel like maybe dysthymia kind of thing going on. Like it's not an overt depression, or at least not the kind of depression that I'm used to, where it's like a giant crash, but it's just like a baseline decline that's permeated everything. I'm just not excited about things that I feel like I should be excited about. Comparing my scores from Q3 to Q4, the overall change, if any, so it stayed the same as last. The rest and well-being actually increased from Q3, which honestly makes sense because that's when my dog died and my mental health was really bad. So there's that. My home and environment decreased, which feels like that shouldn't be. I feel like looking back on it now, I feel this should be higher, or that should be lower. Alignment and self-expression decreased severely by half. Resources and contribution increased, and that's not because I have more money coming in, it's because I actually took action on some eBay stuff. Practice stayed the same. Play decreased, which I guess is fair. Curiosity and passion decreased, which I feel like it should have at least stayed the same. But those are those things. My goodness, I have a lot of things in this workbook. Okay, we're just going to do this. We're going to do this. And then, as always, I will read the year-end reflection questions and just let you do those at home. So, how far off was my impression of how things went versus how I felt after looking through the pages from the past 3 months? And the problem is the past 3 months I've been not using this planner. I haven't actually been doing things in here. I skipped things in September. I did things in October. I skipped almost all of November. And then I skipped all of December, which I feel like is how things tend to go for me for some reason. There are just certain months where I'm very actively doing journaling and stuff like that. And then some months where I just drop off the face of the planet. So I can't actually, I mean, I can look through those pages. I'm not going to right now though, because I just want to get this over with at this point. So how far off was my impression of things? I think I rated things worse than they were just compared to how I rated things last quarter. But I think what did I guess? A 4, and it was a 5.75. So I rated things worse than last quarter, but I felt that last quarter was worse than this quarter. So the number guessed was lower. Did I say yes to too many things this past season? Yes. I also just didn't have the drive at all. Do I need to lighten up my commitments, goals, or otherwise? And yes, I need to really think about what I want to do. I feel like I'm having an existential crisis that I'm not going to start babbling about because I won't stop. What did I spend the majority of my time and energy on in the past 3 months? Do I have this app on this thing? Yes, I do. Okay, so we're going to mother of pearl. After that, God, we're going to go to insights and how I do this again. This year, I think I already know it's just going to be miscellaneous is going to be my top thing. Yeah, miscellaneous. Okay, great, thanks. That's so specific. Miscellaneous. Watching good stuff, which, that's nice. Planning, editing, writing. That's nice. Journaling. Oh, crap. It was supposed to be the last 3 months. Dang, dang, dang. Dang it. This quarter. Damn it. Okay. Miscellaneous. We're going to do this because I would like to have a realistic account of what happened. Okay. Designing, because that's important for me to acknowledge. Journaling. Socializing, which I don't always track. Writing. I actually came up with a Hallmark Christmas movie plot for a book, and I'm just like, what is happening? Planning, learning. That's nice, learning. Watching good stuff. Spiritual, cleaning, editing, aimlessly browsing the internet. Okay, great. All right, and then I don't have room for doing the writing down the other things. I don't care. Do I know what recharges my battery versus what depletes me? Tedium depletes me. I lost 25 years worth of fonts, and every time I pull up something to design in InDesign, I am reminded of that, and it's like pouring acid on a paper cut. I hate it. How aligned did I feel this season? Not very. Am I living in alignment with my values? So my values, going back to the front here, are creativity, curiosity, and compassion, which I don't need to look at. I've been curious about things. I have not been very creative unless you're just talking about coming up with ideas. The thing is, you can have all the thoughts that you want, but what really matters is taking action. And I am severely lacking in that department. So I'm going to say no. No, I'm not living within my value set. What am I doing or no longer doing in order to stay true to myself? I don't know. I think I'm not doing a very good job right now. So we're going to skip that part. What patterns/trends do I notice about the tasks that I'm avoiding? Confrontation with painful topics, which includes creativity. So that's a problem. Am I avoiding one particular goal, project, task, subject? Why? Also tedium, like I said. So avoiding one particular goal or subject or task. Also, excuse my nails. I haven't had time to do them again, so they're just a wreck, just like me. All of the writing stuff and my planner stuff. And I was specifically told, take a year off. I don't want to. But everything just feels annoying. All of my settings for InDesign, all of my custom page sizes and all of that stuff, it is gone because I'm in a new version of the program and none of the other settings transferred or got saved from my old computer. And so it's having to start over, and it's so incredibly painful and annoying. What has been hard lately? In what ways can I make this easier on myself? Having to start over artistically, it's frustrating. In what ways can I make this easier on myself? Use sprints. There's a thin line between finding flow state and just becoming enraged with things for me right now. So things can't be too challenging because then I get really frustrated and then I shut everything down. I can't do that. My tolerance for frustration is very low, my window of tolerance, if you will. So I think if I use sprints and then just let myself just take a break, it will be better, because there's a lot of tedium that I have to get used to doing. That's just the nature of life. So I can't let myself get so spoiled, I guess, by just doing things that are exciting, because excitement doesn't last, right? So during this process, what has become less important to me? Making videos, I guess. I briefly thought about doing Vlog Humbug again this year, because I have a number of videos that I filmed throughout the year that I just didn't edit or anything. I decided that I am not going to do that. But here's the final video that I'll probably maybe make this year. I don't know. I need to do my Techo Kaigi though, or I would like to. I don't need to, because it is what it is. But what's become more important to me? Time with family and friends. So that's nice. And community, at least online. What did I learn this season? So I'm going to actually write the thing that I was telling earlier about containers being a duration and not a quantity. So this is actually really helpful advice for people with ADHD or other neurospicy kind of situations, because some people need to know where the end of a task is. And if you're just measuring your progress by quantity, there is no end to the task that can be felt or thought about. So if it's just a duration, like 5 minutes, that's easy to quantify and feel like in your body. Plus they have visual timers, which I use, which I'm not using today because it's Saturday and I don't need to. So yeah, switch to time containers, not quantity containers, when doing tasks. That's all I'm going to write, because I just want to be done now. You did it. Yay. You spent a whole year choosing to be more mindful of your life and your decisions, more conscious of your own cycles and the cycles all around you. How would you rate your satisfaction with the past year overall? Oh, fam, let's give it a 5. This was not a good year. Take a look at the domain whose score was lowest at the beginning of the year. Okay. At the beginning of the year, the lowest score was 5. And that was rest and well-being, and then resources and contribution. So rest and well-being plus resources and contribution. 5. How did it fare throughout the year? So rest and well-being orbited the same number, just like a middling to low, and then the same for resources and contribution. So they're the same at the end of the year with some small fluctuations. Did you allow room for it to grow even a little bit? I think I was just too overwhelmed and simultaneously underwhelmed to even bother. So that whole dysthymia, I don't know how to pronounce it, feeling that has permeated this year, this feeling of being stuck in a system that I have no power over to enact positive change. It's very depressing. It's very oppressing. And it doesn't give me a lot of hope. So just finding small pockets of hope where I could this year has been hard. Did I allow room for it to grow? A bit. It's more like I'm just trying to keep the fire alive, or keep the flame from being snuffed out. And I'm not saying that in literal or even metaphorically life sense. I'm safe, I'm fine. It's just hope, to keep hope alive. Very dark year. Highlight the domain which you improved the most. Okay, great. What color should I use? I'll use this obnoxious yellow-green. So 6 to 10 is a count of 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 3. That's the biggest decrease. Actually, no, I think this is the biggest decrease. Practice, yeah. Play. So I think this is the biggest increase. Connection. And it's funny because I did say that this was a very connection-oriented year. What actions helped you get there? Hanging out with my family, putting family first. What domain looks like it needs some attention even now? Have you been avoiding it, and why? So practice, because going from 10 to 3, that's a decrease of 7. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else. 7 to 3 is a decrease of 4. So I'm going to say practice. 7 down. Oops, no, it was 10 to 3. So minus 7. Have you been avoiding it? Yes, but there were also setbacks and roadblocks. I feel defeated. And I think just trying to keep hold of that hope and be there for my family and just be a regular human has taken precedence this year. So my work definitely suffered for it. But in the end, it's the people that matter to me anyway. So it is what it is. All right, so that's my review for Q4 / the end of the year. Here are your year-end reflection questions based on our friendly astrological signs. How did I take action / initiative this year? How was I courageous? How well did I use my resources, time, energy, money, etc.? Did I take time to indulge myself without feeling guilty? How well did I communicate my needs, feelings, desires, and ideas? What was I most curious about this year? How well did I nurture emotional connections this year? How did I step into the spotlight and shine this year? How did I foster my creativity? What new skills or systems have I picked up this year? How was I of service to others? Where was my life in need of balance this year? What relationships brought the most harmony and happiness into my life? How was I able to hold space and witness my emotions this year? How did I call myself out on my own bullshit? What was I enthusiastic about this year? What sort of adventure did I experience? In what ways was I most disciplined this year? Where could I have been a little more disciplined? Where and how did I show resilience? In what ways did I think outside the box? How was I open to my dreams and intuition this year? How did I show compassion to others? And that is it. That is it. This 2025 year in the Memento Mori Gold Planner Companion has concluded, and I really hope that you all have a great end of the year, whatever rituals and practices that you typically engage in. I hope you have a happy holiday season, and I hope that next year will be much better for the world as a whole, for you and for me. So thanks for watching. I know this was long, but I'm working on the companion right now. I will do a community post when it's available if anybody's actually interested. Currently, the 2026 lunar calendars are ready for purchase on my Etsy shop, which I will link below. Okay, bye.
Till next time.